This is just exactly why you shouldn't just make it up on the spot. Right, believe it or not, it is now time to build ourselves a chicken patio. Now, this is somewhat different from what we did last year, when we laid a proper patio, got a full mortar bed and used natural stone. I'm now using up these luminous green and pink paving slabs from the front of the house, and I'm just going to lay it on a dry mortar mix. Of course, if you want to see how to do it properly, check out the series from last year. But for now, we're just going to screed out some sharp sand and cement that's been dry mixed. We'll screed that out to get our level. I've got a compacted sort of sub base here and concrete path here, so we're just going to get a nice level over the top of it and stick these slabs down. And these slabs are pretty chunky as well, they're about 2 inches thick. I'm having a really rubbish time with this. This is just exactly why you shouldn't just make it up on the spot. Obviously when we did the other patios, it was all planned, we knew exactly what we were doing. Laying out this dry mix, it's almost impossible to get levels without me putting battens or pipe work and pulling it out afterwards. I've got such a sloped like ground here. I can get it level one way, but you can't tamp them down or just pat them down with a rubber mallet. Oh, it's just frustrating. So I'm going to tear it all up and start again. So for the stark realisation that I'm being far too fussy and that this is really just a glorified chicken run. So I've just carried on with the dry lay, put them back down, screeded it out as best I could, and actually it's pretty good. Well, the main thing I wanted to make sure of is I've got a gradient and the water runoff is gonna, come away from the housing that's gonna be on here. So that's done now. Once it's pointed up, I think it's just gonna be more than adequate and gives a home to these slabs which have been kind of kicking around. I've got 8 down, I've got more to lay, but this is all I need to be able to get the hen house over, sat on here. Right, next thing is to get this post on the wall, so I'm just going to put a rail attached to both these posts, which will give us basically the fence line that we can attach it to. I've got our posts in. I've just recessed it with a Forstner bit like I did over here last year. And that just means that the head's hidden, but also I've only got 100mm concrete bolts, so it just gives an extra bit of purchase into the stone. So we're soon to start a real fencing project, not just for chickens, which will be the perimeter fence, our boundary fence, behind this hedge. Now most of that's fallen down and there's some old posts there which are just no good. They're also screwed into the concrete wall, bolted through the concrete wall, but not where the piers are, so they're kind of, I don't think it's doing the wall any good. We're going to have to bolt to the wall again. I'm using these concrete bolts for this project, which I've used before, and they come in longer sizes. I think they're Timco products, but this is what I'm aiming to use for the 4x4 or 100mm posts, which are going to be going bolted to that wall. Now I'm going to go straight into the pier, so I'm not worried about damaging the wall or anything like that. It's plenty strong enough and they're good centres, but I'll be just using a longer version of this. Now if there's anyone out there who's got any other recommendations, obviously I could use different anchor fixings or resin fixings. From what I've heard from fencing type contractors, this is the way to go. But let me know if you've got any opinions on that or any advice on fixing fence posts to a solid wall. We're also coming up to our 10,000 subscriber mark, which is no great milestone in the huge scheme of YouTube, but for us and our little channel, we're pretty chuffed. So we're going to have a bit of a giveaway. No cars or wads of cash, but we thought we'd kind of have a bit of a giveaway. Don't know the details of it yet, but we've got some ideas of some of the gifts that we might offer. Hopefully it'll be in a couple of weeks, depending on how busy the channel gets over the next few days. For the time being, I'm going to hang this gate with the old hinges, and it's going to have to open in for that reason, and then I'll change the fixings out when I've got more time.
Dad, can you tell me to fix my bow on my trap?
So we've got a bit of clearance there for the gate, so providing the chickens don't fill it back in, that'll be okay. I'll put that spring back on there as well, so we can make sure it's self-closing. So my last job for the day is just going to be to kind of hose down this area, and then hopefully a bit of the water will get down, and also just groundwater will soak into that. It will just go off in its own time really, but I'm going to just give it a quick spray over to wash the top off, but also just to let the water get down in these gaps, and then we'll try and point it up tomorrow or in the next few days. So there we go, that's chicken patio stage 1 complete. I'm going to carry it on a little bit further along and also put a similar size area at the far end, so that if we do want to split the pen up, we can have a kind of a house at each end, or a small little shed at each end. This soil level in here really needs to come down about nearly a foot, so nearly 300mm, simply because I've dumped a load on here from both digging the trenches and the post holes, but also from where I put this patio. I kind of took a good chunk out of there as well. So I'm going to let the chickens kind of turn this over for a few weeks, then I can sift it and it can go out on the beds and kind of borders around the garden. And that'll be something that we just do annually, I think. All the compost and grass cuttings will come in here, they'll sort it out, little compost factory, and then it will be dug out the next year. So it's all pretty sustainable. So there's a gravel board to go along the bottom over there on top of those slabs, just to make sure that that's all nice and secure, and a rail to finish off over there. Over here ran out of fencing, so I had to do 2 sections, that's why I put this post here, but eventually this will actually be all boarded, so that the compost heap the other side is kind of set away from the wall. So there we go, chicken patio in. The birds are going to be in here tomorrow. Joe and I will move over the chicken coop onto that patio bit tomorrow as well, and then I've ordered some bird netting. There will be a more permanent solution, but the netting will cover the whole area, which if we do stay out late or we're away for a night, I can pretty much be happy with that being fox proof. Plus I think our fox is a bit thick, so I'm not going to mess around with that fox. I'd rather that one stay around because it doesn't seem to know quite what it's doing. I think it's a bit of a pampered town fox. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.